My dad. What a pain in the ass. And a man of few words.
What else do we have?
He really only opens up his mouth to eat. You gotta love him. So for this Father's Day, I'm making him a couple of his favorite dishes that I know your dad's gonna love just as much. For dinner, I'm making pasta al vino with crispy sausage and an irresistibly crunchy breadcrumb topping. Then for dessert, chocolate-hazelnut sausage. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, it is delicious, and it just so happens to also make the perfect gift. First up is dessert, our chocolate hazelnut sausage. We want to get started on this because it needs some time to set in the fridge. So, first things first, I have some hazelnuts. So I'm leaving some whole. I'm going to chop up the rest, and this is going to imitate or mimic the pockets of fat found in sausage, and it's going to give the illusion that this is an actual savory sausage. When chopping nuts, throw your hand at the tip of the knife. This will help secure it and help you guide it across the nuts. This does not need to be perfect. Like I said, this is mimicking fat pockets, and fat pockets come in all different sizes. So if you have some super fine, that's awesome. And if you have some that are a little bit more chunky, that is fine too. If you're not a fan of hazelnuts, you can use any nut. You can even put in dried fruits. Pistachios and dried cherries would be an amazing substitute. I'm happy with this. Perfect. I need to grab a couple of more ingredients from the pantry, and we're gonna get started on our chocolate ganache. The star of this dish, aside from the hazelnuts, is this chocolate. I like to use 58 to 65% chocolate. The percentage is the amount of cocoa. The higher the number, the darker and more bitter the chocolate. To chop chocolate, I like to use a serrated knife. You have a little bit more control. Your knife won't slide on the board, and look how easily it just crushes through this premium chocolate bar. Doesn't need to be perfect because we're melting it. The smaller the chocolate pieces, the quicker they'll melt. And we all know I do not have patience. Going to put it right into a bowl. Okay, try not to eat it. It smells so good. To this, we'll add just a couple more ingredients. Plain old granulated sugar. Always level it off. You want the perfect amount, especially when it comes to desserts. That's when you're supposed to be OCD. Up next, somewhat of an unconventional ingredient, an egg white. What this egg white's going to do is help create a less brittle texture in our final ganache. So, right on in. Then just because I can't do dessert without a little vanilla. Just a little bit, enough to help amplify the other flavors going on. And finally, a couple of tablespoons of plain old tap water. We're gonna put this over a pot with barely simmering water. We're not looking to touch the bottom. This is called a double boiler. We want that gentle steam that's wafting to slowly and evenly melt our chocolate without burning it. So just start stirring. This will happen pretty quickly. Very relaxing, very zen, and smells amazing. Be sure to periodically scrape down the sides of the bowl. It's going to help make sure that everything melts properly and avoid scorching along the side. You can see how velvety it's looking. It has a beautiful sheen. Okay, that's it. See how nice and silky it is? Time for the fun part. Let's start making sausage. All that's left is to add our hazelnuts. Just slowly fold them in. Try to get it all coated in chocolate. You don't want to see too much of the nut itself popping out. That's it. And now we play the waiting game. Into the fridge to set for 45 minutes to an hour. Our chocolate mixture has been in the fridge for about an hour, and you can see that there's no wet spots, which means it's not going to be too hard to work with because it's sticky. But if I press on it, it still gives, which means I'll be able to roll it into the sausage log. So I'm gonna grab myself a pretty generous sheet of plastic wrap. And then transfer my chocolate right into the center of it. Now, I'm just going to try to start shaping this into a log using the plastic as a guide to help shaping it. At first, we'll just start getting a general shape, and then we'll refine it. So I like to make my sausage log 9.5 inches, because I think that that's the perfect length and width that we'll get with the chocolate when we slice into it. But it doesn't have to be so crazy. If you have OCD, you can use a ruler. So I'm actually just shy of where I want to be, and try to keep it nice and even in diameter. You don't want it to taper too much. Then twist off your sides and tuck them under. This is the first step in shaping our sausage, but I have one more secret ingredient that's really going to give you the illusion that this is the real thing. Been about an hour, maybe a little more. So I'm carefully going to unwrap it. Grab yourself a fresh sheet of plastic wrap. And now for a little secret ingredient, just some powdered sugar. This is going to give the illusion of that moldy exterior found in a cured sausage or salami. So about a half cup, and just coat it all around and roll it in. It's okay if it's cakey. Make sure you cover it. And then, you guessed it, wrap it back up. It needs one more rest in the fridge. At least a couple of hours. We really want to get it nice and solid, but preferably overnight. Surprise! I wasn't going to wait overnight. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. All your hard work. If you can get the plastic off. So as it sits in the fridge, you can see like these wet spots. That's the condensation from the fridge, and that's what's going to really give the illusion of dried sausage. And just carefully get rid of that cakiness. Definitely leave some on. Now to package it up for Dad. You can use any food grade paper. I'm simply using parchment. And if you go to like an old school salumeria to get some salami. Pretty similar to what you're gonna get at a store. Now, you can leave it simply just like this, or if you have nothing better to do with your life, like me, maybe add some twine. It's a gift. Make it look like you cared. I'm just gonna tie it in a couple of places to secure it. Nothing fancy. My dad's not gonna notice. He's just gonna wonder when I'm gonna cut it open. You do you. You wanna tape down the sides? Tape down the sides. Simple is good enough for Dad. Our sausage is packed, but I'm not that cheap, so I'm also gonna give Dad a bottle of his favorite wine. Throw this in a bag, and I'm all set for Father's Day dinner. When the pandemic started, I was kind of ravaging through my pantry trying to figure out what I can cook because getting to the grocery store was scary and just hard. And I came up with this dish, pasta al vino. So for this recipe, I need 2 small cloves of garlic. And this is what we're going to use to flavor our crumbs. So we'll get those peeled. Ooh, that was an easy one. Save the rest of the garlic. We're gonna need it for the sauce part of our dish. Perfect. Let's get cooking. I have my skillet. I like to use a non-stick for this over medium-high heat. And I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of some really good butter. Look how beautiful the color of this butter is. Just let it melt. To that, we're going to grate our garlic using a fine zester. This is so much easier than mincing. Pinch of salt. Melt our butter and cook this for about a minute until it's nice and fragrant, which it already is. Smells divine. Now for the crunch. Panko, 1/2 cup of it. Get that in there. And now we're gonna cook this until the panko is crispy and nice and golden. Now just keep stirring. This is one of those things where it's gonna look like you're stirring for a while and nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden, it's done. I like to use panko for this recipe because of its texture. It's crunchy to begin with, and it just is going to add a bite to this dish that takes it to a whole new level. Make sure you scrape down the sides so they don't burn. The pieces that stick to the side of the pot will overcook. You can see it's starting to take on a little color now. We're nearly there. Looking for a nice golden brown, nice and toasty. And there you have it. It's as simple as that. Now, do not leave this in the pan. The pan is hot. These will continue to cook. You'll walk away, come back, and they'll be burnt. And you'll be sad. So immediately transfer it into a bowl. That's all there is to it. Let's make some pasta. I have some beautiful Italian sausage here. Take that out. Then our leftover garlic from those breadcrumbs, just thinly slice. 4 large cloves. You can never have enough garlic, right? Okay. Next up, we have an onion. 1 large yellow onion is going to add a little sweetness to this dish. Not too much, just enough. And we'll just slice these into thin half moons. Canned artichokes. I always have canned artichokes in my pantry. They're great in salads. I actually use it for pesto. And of course, my pasta al vino. And we're just gonna give these a rough chop. Not too small. We wanna leave some texture in the dish. Okay. I don't even know if I do recipes without pecorino cheese anymore, but pecorino. A nice, healthy portion. Measure that out so it's ready to go. There you have it. Let's get cooking. Let that get nice and warm. And in the meantime, back to our beautiful sausage. We want to remove the casing so that we can break up the meat. Peels right off. And if you want to get a head start and kind of use your hands and break it into small pieces, we're going to break it up into bite-sized chunks. You want everything to kind of be around the same size. So these onions will cook down. We have these bite-sized artichoke hearts, so we want bite-sized bits of sausage. Because we're making such a delicate white wine sauce, I prefer to use the sweet so that the wine really stands out. Perfect. Use a slotted spoon and transfer our sausage to a bowl, leaving all the rendered fat behind and that flavored olive oil. Don't worry about all of this fond. It's all flavor, and when we add the white wine, it'll pull it out. Perfect. Another couple of tablespoons of butter right into this hot skillet. And then in go our onions. We're going to cook these for about 10-12 minutes. We're not looking to get them super caramelized, just light amber and softened so that they have a nice bite when we serve our finished dish. Get that nice and coated in that butter. Ooh, it smells so good. Every component of this dish just smells so good. I'm going to throw in just a little pinch of salt. Season in layers. The sausage is salty, so you don't need to add too much. And we have a couple more ingredients that are going to add a saltiness to this dish. Speaking of salt, let's not forget about our water. A lot of waiting this episode. A lot of waiting. Hurry up and wait. I think this is as rolling of a boil as we're gonna get out of this machine. Now that our onions are close to being halfway there, time to drop our pasta. My favorite, Bucatini. I'm only using a half pound. This serves 2 people generously. But you can double this recipe if you're feeding a family of 4, or if you want a ton of leftovers. We're gonna finish our pasta in the sauce, so I am gonna cook it about a minute, minute and a half shy of al dente. Apparently there's a shortage of Bucatini, so if you're having trouble finding it because you don't have the hookup like I do, you can use fettuccine, linguine, or even a fun shape like cavatappi will work for this. Okay, another minute or 2, we're ready to move on with this sauce. So let's add all of our garlic. And our artichoke hearts. We're not really looking to cook them at this point. We're just looking to warm everything through. Allow that fragrance to really permeate this sauce. Doesn't this look great? You know what's up next. Some wine. No need to ever measure wine. You always have to eyeball. And you see how it's just automatically just taking all that flavor that's stuck on the bottom of the pot and melting it away. All that flavor is just melting right into our sauce thanks to that white wine. Also going to add some chicken base. And it's just a concentrated paste that adds almost like an umami, just a delicious salty flavor that just enhances the dish. I even add it to chicken stock when I'm making it, just to boost the flavor a little bit. And that'll melt right in there. Okay, look at that. And I think our pasta just so happens to be ready. Oh yeah. Try to get all of it. I think I'm grasping at nothing. Okay, give that a little whirlsy. Now, some starch water, which is gonna help bind everything together. You can always add more to get the right consistency. And then let's start adding everything else. Our sausage goes back in, and then there goes our cheese. Just toss it up. The cheese will melt into the sauce. That starch water will help thicken it up a little bit. You want to cook it for about a minute or two here, just long enough for the sauce to be perfect and for our pasta to reach the perfect al dente. You can see that sauce is starting to already look nice and luscious. I'm gonna add a drop more of our starch water. You never want a dry pan. That just about does it. The only thing missing at this point is a bowl. And our breadcrumb topping. Can't forget about the breadcrumb topping. Make sure you grab some of the sausage, some of the artichoke hearts, those onions. We want to get a little bit of everything in there. That looks like a nice portion for one, no? Definitely need a little bit more cheese. And of course, look at this. Do not be cheap. Let's give it a try. It is so good. The white wine just ties all these ingredients in together, but this crispy topping just really hits it out of the park. Pretty sure my dad will like it, but if he doesn't, I really don't care because I sure do. My chocolate sausage is the star of any dessert board. I like to dress it up with my favorite biscotti, Sicilian Regina cookies. Some fruit leather. It's so fun and kinda looks like strips of prosciutto, no? A few little candies, something fresh, and even marshmallows. This gorgeous sweet charcuterie board is now ready for prime time.
This came out very good. The artichokes were very good.
Remember which of your sons cooks you a Father's Day meal.
Yeah.
I mean, according to your plates, I think I know the answer, but what'd you think?
It was horrible. No, it was delicious.
Got some dessert.
Delicious.
It's good.
Those look good too, the plain. I'm not going to get invited back.
Make the meat look good. The sausage is very good.
Here. You're going home with some chocolate sausage.
No.
And a bottle of your favorite wine.
Oh boy.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Well, happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you for cooking.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.